My name is Frimpong, and here's my story. Now, a lot of you guys know me from the many articles that have been written about me or the millions of followers on social media that I have. Or you know me by the fact that I went from being dead broke to being a multi-millionaire from e-commerce in the span of a year. You may have heard about the millions of lives that we've changed or the celebrities that we've worked with, but none of that really matters. What I want to explain in this video is where I came from and how I was able to do what I do and how you can replicate the exact same thing. Because a lot of people seem to think that what I did is impossible. But what I'm here to show you is that it's actually very possible. And with the new technology, artificial intelligence, and new e-commerce platforms that are available now, it is more likely than ever to make millions of dollars online if you just have a few of the key secret ingredients to being successful. So in this video, I'm gonna break it down from my beginning to the end and how you can replicate. Let's get into it. So a lot of people ask me, well, how did you get into e-commerce? Well, for anyone who doesn't know, I used to work at Taco Bell and I used to make like $8 an hour to flip tacos. I hated the job, and honestly, I never was really able to keep a job. I went from so many different job to job. I worked at Amazon, I worked at Macy's, I worked at Target, I worked at Taco Bell, I worked at McDonald's, and I just couldn't find a passion. I couldn't go to work every single day and feel fulfilled in myself. Now, Taco Bell was my longest job, and you may have seen this famous picture of me on the day that I quit that job. But it actually wasn't my last job. My last job was at Macy's. I was a security guard and I used to work 12-hour shifts, literally just standing at a door, staring at a wall. So for 6 months, I would clock in, stare at a wall for 12 hours and go home. But it was around this time that I caught the entrepreneurship bug. See, although I was standing there for 12 hours staring at a wall and I technically wasn't allowed to listen to anything or have headphones in, I would sneak one little headphone in and I would listen to ebooks. The very first ebook that I listened to, and it may sound cliche, was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, I can truly and honestly say that that book may just have changed my life because it opened me up to a completely new way of thinking. It was no longer about working for money. It was about making money work for me. And during my entire course of high school, all the people that I'd been around, no one had this idea. No one had spoken about this. And so hearing it for the first time was life-changing. After this ebook, I listened to Think and Grow Rich. I listened to Influence, the 50 scientifically proven ways to get the yes, all books that I 100% recommend. And they were all just like a ladder leading me to where I'm at now. But it wasn't quite that easy. See, my last day at Macy's ended like this. Now I'm standing at the door, regular shift. I've been working here for 6 months, never really had anything happen. But out the corner of my eye, I see two guys in hoodies, masked up, grabbing all the clothes from the Nike shelf. And in my head, for some reason, I felt obligated to stop them. So I saw them snatching it up. They're all the way across the building. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna stop them. So I start running towards these dudes as they are running towards the other exit that I am not posted at. Now, mind you, in the back of my head, the other security guards that work with me are in the camera room and they're supposed to be watching all the cameras. So if something like this does happen, I know that I have backup because they're gonna come and get my follow-up once I stop these guys. So I run all the way to the other exit. This is in the furniture section. I jump over the bed, dive on this guy and stop him from running out with probably about $800 worth of Nike. The other guy gets out completely fine and I'm wrestling this guy in a headlock in the Macy's store. Now I've got him subdued and I hear a car pull up from outside. It was his man and the getaway driver. They get out the car, come into the store. One of them has a brass knuckle on and punch me right in the face. That's why I took this picture right here. Now I'm bloodied up. I let the guy go. They take the clothes. That's the end of the story. Or you may think. But see, I had an epiphany because that day I realized that no job is worth my life. They didn't give me any money. They didn't pay for my hospital bills. They didn't even offer any paid time off. All they said was, thank you for your service. Clock back in tomorrow, same time. And that was the last job that I ever worked. After that, I jumped right off the edge into entrepreneurship, but not into e-commerce specifically. See, me and my brother, we were very entrepreneurship driven and we were just looking for any hustle. So I did stock trading for a while, stock option trading, and I was rather successful, but didn't like how taxing it was psychologically and with my time. We did a little bit of Forex. Didn't like that too much. We did vending machines, made some money by putting vending machines in different locations and collecting the profits from the people that were buying our goods. And that was decent, but it was so much hustling. We would walk around in our suits all around town, going to all these different businesses, getting rejected over and over again, until we just said, you know what, this isn't enough a reward for the work that we're putting in. I even did wholesaling real estate, so I would find properties that people didn't want to live in anymore and try to get other people to buy them and then collect that signing fee, and made some money with that. But it was just so much work, and most of the time the deals don't close. And that was when I came about TikTok. Now, TikTok dropped probably in about 2019, 2020 during the pandemic. And everyone was on TikTok. Everyone was making the switch over to TikTok and watching these videos. But I realized something, because this was around the time when I was, getting back into college, trying to get my studies in. And I realized that there were all these people who were buying stuff based on recommendations on TikTok. And so in my head, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should start trying to sell these products. Now, this had nothing to do with e-commerce. I literally would find products that people were buying at my college, and then I would go bulk buy them from the local discount store in Indiana. And I would bring them to college and I would sell them. The very first product was the RGB lights. So for anyone who doesn't know, RGB lights were those lights that people would string up on the ceilings, and they would put the clouds up on the ceiling and it would look like lightning was going through the house. Well, that was the first product that I sold, and I would sell them by hand at my college. Now, this was good, and you can imagine, if I'm getting this product for like $5 at the local store, these people at my college are paying me $50, $60 per unit that I'm selling. So I started making a good amount of money, a couple $100s a day, simply selling these RGB lights. But mind you, around this time, I had my son. So I had a newborn son. I had no job. I'm in college and I'm making a couple $100, which honestly just wasn't enough. And it wasn't enough, and it wasn't quick enough. And I remember having this conversation with my brother is, this money is okay, and it's enough to get by, but it's not enough to get by for myself and my family, because now I have responsibilities. And so I brainstormed on a bunch of different ways, and I had come about this YouTube video on this thing called Shopify. And I was like, Shopify sounds interesting. Oh, you can create a brand and a store with the click of a few buttons. Now, it wasn't just a click of a few buttons. It took me, my first store took days to create. I'm a perfectionist, and so I wanted it to be perfect. It took days to create, and then I launched it. And I was selling the same product, the RGB lights. I still have that store up and it's still running. And so I'm selling these RGB lights at my campus, but now I'm also selling them online. And so I started creating videos on TikTok about these RGB lights and about how cool they were, how it would make your dorm look amazing. And now, instead of just being able to sell to the people at my college, I started selling to all of the colleges in Indiana. And honestly, it blew up so much that I was selling these RGB lights all across the country. And so now I went from making a couple $100s a day selling RGB lights to making a couple thousand. Because mind you, once again, I used to sell these products. I used to get them from the wholesale store for $5 to $10, but now I'm getting them for China. And so I could be paying 50 cents, $1, $1.50, and I'm selling these units for $50, $60. I'm making almost 95% profit margins on this product and taking the rest home. So if I sell a product for 100, I keep 95. Those margins are unheard of. And we started selling like dozens of units a day. And so once this started to pick up and I realized that it was working, it was right around the time I'm wrapping up college, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna finish college, I'm gonna get this degree, and I'm gonna go all in on e-commerce. So I ended up launching 6 more brands, and 4 of them initially failed, but 2 of them, including the one that I had, blew up. And on those 2 brands, one was a jewelry brand and one was a light brand, I ended up scaling those for the next few months, making thousands of dollars a day. And that is initially how I was able to make my first $1 million in the span of just 1 year, because I identified an opportunity, I took action on the opportunity, and then I went all in on that thing and scaled it until I couldn't scale it anymore. And once I got to the point where I couldn't scale it anymore, I pivoted and started selling different products based on what was trending. And we've gone through many phases since then. The pet niche, was a phase, made millions of dollars. Jewelry was a niche, fitness was a niche, beauty was a niche, and then you have your evergreen niches, which are also pet, beauty, fitness. These are niches that you're always going to be able to make money on, no matter what time of the year, no matter what season we're in. You're always going to be able to make money on these niches, and these are all things that I learned throughout my journey in e-commerce. Now, once I launched those stores and I was able to make some money, unlike most of these people that you'll see on social media, I didn't go buy a Lamborghini or a mansion. I ended up investing my money, reinvesting it into my own brands. And I've slowly diversified into mergers and acquisitions and private equity. Now, I take these brands that I create and I sell them to other businesses who are looking to acquire big e-commerce brands like mine. And so now, instead of just having a brand that's making me $100,000 a month, I have a brand that's making $100,000 and I can sell it to another bigger brand like Fashion Nova, for example. They are a Shopify brand. I have had stores where Fashion Nova has come in and said, I would like to buy your fashion store. The reason why they do this is because we already have recurring revenue. We already have people on subscriptions, and we also have thousands of sets of data. And one thing that you're going to realize about e-commerce is that data is key. And so they're going to come in and say, hey, we want those phone numbers, emails, because we know that we can retarget them and make the money back on what we're paying you tenfold over the next few years. And so that's another reason why e-commerce is so lucrative, because you don't just make money one way. You don't just make money when someone buys. You can also make money on a recurring revenue when you charge them a subscription based, like for example, with beauty products, women need beauty products every single month because they run out. That's a recurring revenue. And so businesses will buy into your business because of this. They'll also buy into your business because of your emails and phone numbers, which is why I always stress you have to collect data. Now I'm going to go over the 3 most important things that led to my success from being dead broke to being a millionaire. And I'm going to give you the exact steps that you need to take in 2025 to replicate this so you can have that success for yourselves. And by the way, if you do want to work with me or you want to learn what I do more in depth, I'm going to leave a link down here at the bottom of this video so you can get in touch with me. I'll shoot you a text message and we can talk more about how we can grow in 2025. So here are 3 steps that you can take. Number 1, identify a problem. The key to success in 2025 is going to be your ability to find a problem and fix that problem. That is all I did in the beginning. I knew that people needed to feel cool and feel like the crowd and have cool lighting in their rooms. It was a problem because people couldn't get it because everything started shutting down because of COVID. And so me getting in at that time and solving the problem of the lack of lights that were available, it seems very simple. But let me tell you guys something. The boring businesses make the most money. You don't need to create the next Google or the next Amazon to become a millionaire. All you need to do is something that is already working and identify the problem and be the solution to that problem. That's another thing that I learned from Robert Kiyosaki. See, he had a rich dad and a poor dad. And his poor dad worked a 9-to-5 his entire life and was never able to accumulate wealth because he did it the right way. But his rich dad understood that the only way that you can become truly generationally free is by creating your own business, creating your own rules, and honestly, not taking the road most taken. You gotta create your own. You cannot conform to what society wants you to do because society, and we all know that the school systems and the government agency created school in order to keep you in the 9-to-5. The owner of the school systems, the one who created it, literally said himself that I do not want a nation of free thinkers, but I want a nation of workers. So we know that the system is betting against us. So what do we need to do? We cannot be like the poor dad. We cannot go into the work field and expect to be paid what we are truly owed. We cannot go in and literally just conform to what society has taught us. Go to high school, go to college, get in massive amounts of debt in college, then pay it off for the rest of our lives working a minimum wage job for 40 hours a week. That is the way to live a miserable life, because guess what? You'll never make enough money. You're never gonna have enough because your time is your money. And so you're giving up your time in exchange for the dollar. Let me tell you guys something right now. This dollar right here is worth as much as you say it's worth. They print this stuff out every single day. And so you got to make a decision. Is your hour worth $20? Is your hour worth $200? You are the one that decides that. And if you let the society, your job, your corporation, whatever, decide how much your time is worth, they will always give you less than what it's worth. So what I told myself is the rich dad knew that if he went into the work field, he was going to get paid $20 an hour, whatever the amount is. But instead, he bet on himself. He took the risk, and now he can make $2,000 an hour. There is no limit to how much money you can make unless you allow that limit to be placed on you. And so what you need to decide is, what is your time worth? Do not spend your time working for money. Let the money work for you, and there's no limit to how much money you can make. That was the decision that I made, and that's why rule number 1 is so important. Find a problem and be the solution. Rule number 2, after you have identified the problem, you need to identify the solution and figure out a way to monetize that. So there are many problems in the world right now. There's a lack of education. That's a problem. There's a lack of utilization of artificial intelligence. That is a problem. There is also a lack of e-commerce brands that can supply customers with what they need. There are currently 3.2 billion people on social media, and there's not enough e-commerce brands out there to sell products to 3.2 billion people every single day. The problem is there's a lack of resources for people to buy products. I found that problem and I became the solution. So what you need to decide is to find a problem. What products are selling right now? What niche is going viral? And I'll give you guys an AI site that can help you do this. It's called viralninja.io, and it'll help you find viral and trending products so that you can sell what is selling and fix problems and become the solution to make lots of money. And so once you found the problem, you have to come up with a solution and be able to monetize. It's all good coming up with a solution, but how do you make money from it? And so we know that when we go into Walmart, how does Walmart make its money? If you guys didn't know, the CEO of Walmart and their entire family, the Walmarts literally, are worth billions of dollars, and they own the daughter of the CEO owns one of the biggest yachts in the entire world, and it's docked right outside of my penthouse in Miami. And I see it every day, and I'm like, they do exactly what I do on a much larger scale. They get products from China for a couple dollars per unit, and they sell it for more, and then they scale it from there. And that's the exact same thing that we do. So what you're gonna do in 2025 is set up a store specifically with TikTok Shop, and I'm gonna break down how to do that. The first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna head over to TikTok Shop, sign up. You're gonna sign up for an account. It's gonna ask for your EIN, your phone number, and your address, your business address. You're gonna enter in all this information, and then they're going to take a little bit of time to look over your information and approve your account. Okay, so you're gonna need an LLC, a business address, and a phone number, okay, in order to get approved. Once you have it approved, you're gonna open up your TikTok Shop and you're gonna connect CJ Dropshipping. Now, there's two things you need to remember here. TikTok requires you to ship out products within a certain amount of time. So you're gonna connect your CJ Dropshipping to your TikTok Shop, but you're gonna connect a US-based supplier so that you can ship your products out in a timely manner. You're not gonna connect to a Chinese-based supplier, okay? But the US-based suppliers oftentimes have very competitive pricing as well. It may be a little bit more, but we're only talking about a couple cents or maybe a couple dollars off of your profit margin. So instead of making $20 per unit, you may make $15 profit per unit, but you're still making profit per unit. Okay, now the next most important part of monetizing on TikTok Shop is you need affiliates, affiliate marketing. You need people promoting your product who are getting views. So a lot of people think that they need to be famous in order to make money online, but that is not the case at all. You see, what I do and what people like me who know how to rig the system do is they use other people. You see, I heard this very interesting quote one time that said that the people in high school who used to cheat on their homework are the ones that ended up being the most successful because they learned how to hire people to do the work for them. And at the end of the day, that's all these corporations and that's all your boss does. They hired you to do the work that they don't know how to do, to help them grow their dreams, scale their business. Instead, now we're going to do that for ourselves. So we're going to hire these affiliates. They can already have hundreds of thousands of followers. So all you're going to do is utilize their platforms, and guess what? You don't have to pay a dime up front because these influencers aren't making money without you. They don't have a product to sell. So they have to promote other people's products in order to get a percentage of the sale. So you're gonna give them 20% of what they sell. Meaning if they sell $10,000 worth of your products, you pay them $2,000, you collect $8,000. I have influencers that work for me right now that I found online using the same platforms that I'm giving you guys right now that are making me $10,000 to $20,000 every single month. My highest paid affiliate is currently making $20,000 a month in commissions. So if they're making 20K, drop for me in the comments what they're making me on a monthly basis if they're getting 20%. This is the reason why. You gotta know what you're doing, because you cannot play the game unless you have the rules and the information and the cheat codes. This is how they're doing it, so you gotta do it too. And then number 3, and this is probably the most important part of the reason why I became successful, is the fact that I have the right mindset. And this is probably the most important reason why I became successful, is that I always had a mindset for success. See, a lot of you guys are scared. You live your life in fear. You're scared to take risks. You're scared to bet on yourself, and you're scared that you're gonna fail. But guess what? You're already failing. Not trying is failing. You've got nothing to lose by stepping off the porch and taking a risk and betting on yourself. Especially for you guys who are young, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, you still have time. You have time to take a risk. But once you get too old, you're gonna look back and say, I regret not betting on myself. Because when it comes to regret, it's the only thing that you cannot get back is your time. Jeff Bezos right now wishes the only thing that he could have is our age, is my youth. And when I realized that, I'm like, yo, there's something that Jeff Bezos cannot get. With all the money, the billions of dollars, being one of the richest men in the world, there's one thing he can't have, and that's my youth. So why would I go and waste it? Why would I go and waste it at a 9-to-5 that doesn't respect me? Why would I go and waste it at a job that doesn't pay me what my time is worth? No longer the case. You have to bet on yourself, and you have to have the mindset to go through the struggles, to go through the tribulations, never give up, and give it everything that you possibly have to be successful. Failure is not an option. And if you do fail, which is extremely likely, just understand that every failure is just a lesson. It's just a hurdle to your success. And the more failures you can get through, is the more lessons that you learn, is the more likely that you become successful at the end. Me getting jumped at Macy's was not a failure. It was a lesson, and it pushed me to the edge of where I knew I had no choice but to take the risk and bet on myself. And I bet on myself. I made millions of dollars since then. And trust me when I say it was the best bet I ever made, and you should make the exact same one. I've lost friends in the process. I have friends who I have known for years. I no longer speak to them. They got jealous because of what I did. I have friends I no longer speak to because success isn't for everyone. Why do you think it is that only 1% of us make millions of dollars? It's not meant for everyone. The decision you have to make is, are you one of the 1% or are you part of the 99? That is the one question that I cannot answer for you. You have to answer it for yourself. You may lose friends, family. You may go through times that are tough. But if you believe that you can do it, and you take action every day, and you decide that 2025 is gonna be your year, trust me when I say, with AI and e-commerce combined, there's no reason why you're not successful. If you're interested in learning how I'm using artificial intelligence like ViralNinja.io, like Collabster to boost my sales, to make millions of dollars online, and also to find trending products, click the link down below. I'm looking to work with a couple people this year, scale up brands, and sell them for multiple 7 figures. I appreciate you guys so much for watching this video. If you're interested in learning more, make sure to like and subscribe, as I'm gonna be creating a lot more. And just remember this one nugget right now. The only person that can save you is you. The government won't do it, your family won't do it, the president won't do it, only you can do it. So make the decision that you are worth the risk. And I guarantee you that at the end of 2025, you're gonna thank yourself, and you're gonna thank me as well for telling you to do this right now. So with that, appreciate you guys once again. Like and subscribe, click the link, fill out the form. Let's work together. Much love. King Jess out.